What if dementia isn't simply something you have to accept because you're getting older? New evidence suggests that up to 45% of dementia risk may be linked to factors we can potentially change or manage. That doesn't mean dementia is completely preventable, but it does mean your daily choices may matter far more than you think. Imagine a 68-year-old man who starts forgetting why he walked into a room. He laughs it off at first. Then he misses an appointment, repeats the same question, and struggles with a familiar route home. His family immediately worries about dementia. But nobody has asked what has been happening to his blood pressure, hearing, sleep, activity, or blood sugar. That is the frightening part. Many people wait until memory problems become obvious before they start thinking about brain health. But the brain is connected to the rest of your body every single day. What affects your blood vessels, metabolism, senses, sleep, and activity level can also influence the environment your brain has to work with. I'm going to approach this as a senior health educator focused on practical prevention, not miracle cures. Dementia has many causes, and some risk factors cannot be changed. But major health organizations now emphasize that there are meaningful steps people can take to reduce or delay risk. The goal is not fear. The goal is action. Think of your brain as an organ with enormous energy demands. It depends on healthy blood vessels, oxygen delivery, glucose regulation, sensory input, sleep, movement, and constant interaction with the world around you. When several of those systems gradually become unhealthy, your brain may face more stress over many years. And please understand this distinction. Reducing risk is not the same as guaranteeing prevention. A person can exercise, eat well, control blood pressure, and still develop dementia. Genetics and age matter. But having risk factors you cannot change does not mean you should ignore the ones you can influence. Let's start with something many people think of as a heart problem only: high blood pressure. It is often silent, so you may feel completely normal while your arteries are under strain. The reason to manage it is simple. Your brain depends on those same blood vessels for a steady supply of blood. The hidden danger is assuming that one normal reading means everything is fine. Blood pressure changes throughout the day, and long-term patterns matter. Research has connected hypertension, particularly during midlife, with later cognitive risk. The safer strategy is not chasing a perfect number. It is working with your clinician to manage your overall cardiovascular risk. Imagine someone whose blood pressure is high every morning but normal at a clinic visit. They may think, "My doctor said it was fine." A better approach may involve repeated measurements, accurate technique, and home monitoring when recommended. Never change medication doses yourself simply because of a single reading. Here is one that surprises many seniors. Your ears may matter to your brain more than you realize. When hearing declines, conversations become harder to follow. You may stop participating, avoid restaurants, watch television less, or withdraw from family discussions simply because listening becomes exhausting. Hearing loss is associated with increased dementia risk, and current guidance recognizes hearing care as part of brain health risk reduction. The important point is not that hearing loss automatically causes dementia. It is that untreated hearing difficulty can remove stimulation and make communication harder. A hearing evaluation can uncover a problem you may have been compensating for. Think about a grandfather who keeps saying, "Everyone mumbles these days." He turns the television louder but still struggles at dinner. Instead of simply accepting it as aging, he could get his hearing tested. If hearing aids or another treatment are appropriate, improving access to sound may help him stay connected and engaged. Now let's talk about movement. You don't need to become a marathon runner to support brain health. Walking, cycling, swimming, strength work, or other activities suited to your ability can help your cardiovascular system and overall physical function. And when your body moves, your brain has to coordinate every step. The mistake is thinking exercise only counts if you sweat heavily. That mindset can make older adults quit before they begin. Another mistake is sitting for most of the day because a formal workout feels impossible. A better approach is to build movement into ordinary life: short walks, household activity, gentle strength work, and breaks from prolonged sitting. Consider someone who says, "I'm too old for exercise." Start smaller. Walk around the house for several minutes. Take an extra lap around the grocery store. Do chair-based movements if standing is difficult. If you have heart disease, severe arthritis, balance problems, or another limitation, ask a professional what level of activity is appropriate. Your brain also depends on a finely regulated metabolic system. Diabetes and persistently high blood sugar are associated with dementia risk. That doesn't mean eating one dessert damages your brain. The bigger concern is what happens when metabolic problems remain poorly controlled for years. The hidden problem is that blood sugar problems can develop quietly. Someone may feel mostly normal while gradually developing insulin resistance, diabetes, high triglycerides, or other metabolic issues. By the time symptoms appear, the problem may have been present for years. Regular medical checkups can reveal risks before they become obvious. Instead of obsessing over a single food, look at the overall pattern. More vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts, fish, and minimally processed foods can fit into a brain-healthy eating pattern. At the same time, managing diabetes, cholesterol, weight, and blood pressure with your healthcare team can address several risks together. This next point may be uncomfortable, but it matters. Smoking damages blood vessels and increases the risk of several serious diseases. Heavy alcohol use can also harm the brain and contribute to other conditions that increase cognitive risk. If either is part of your life, changing it can be one of the most meaningful health decisions you make. The hidden trap is believing that damage only matters decades later. Your cardiovascular system and brain are exposed to these factors repeatedly. The good news is that you don't need to become perfect overnight. Reducing tobacco exposure and avoiding harmful alcohol use are meaningful steps, and professional support can make difficult changes much more achievable. Imagine a 64-year-old who has smoked since his 20s and believes, after all these years, quitting won't make a difference. That is exactly when a conversation with a healthcare professional is worthwhile. The goal is not to punish the past. It is to improve the years ahead and reduce additional harm. Now for something that isn't a pill, blood test, or workout: connection. Social isolation can become surprisingly powerful after retirement, bereavement, illness, or losing the ability to drive. A person may spend days with very little conversation, stimulation, or meaningful interaction without realizing how much their world has narrowed. Your brain is constantly processing when you talk with another person. You listen, remember, respond, interpret facial expressions, find words, and adjust your emotions. Social engagement isn't a guaranteed shield against dementia, but staying connected can support cognitive and emotional health. Sometimes protecting your brain begins with simply making the phone call. If leaving home is difficult, don't assume social activity is impossible. Call a friend. Join a family video conversation. Attend a community group. Help a grandchild with homework. Invite someone for tea. The activity does not need to be intellectually impressive. What matters is meaningful engagement and regular human connection. There is another misconception worth challenging. If I do crossword puzzles, I can't get dementia. Unfortunately, the brain is not that simple. Cognitive stimulation can be valuable, but brain health involves more than one game. Learning, reading, conversation, problem-solving, hobbies, and staying engaged with daily life can all provide useful mental stimulation. Instead of doing the exact same puzzle every day, occasionally make your brain adapt. Learn a new recipe, take a different route, practice a new skill, read something outside your usual interests, play music, learn another language at your own pace. The objective isn't to outsmart dementia. It's to keep your brain actively participating in life. And don't overlook sleep or emotional health. Poor sleep and depression can affect concentration, memory, motivation, and everyday function. That doesn't mean every forgetful person has dementia. In fact, some problems that look like memory decline can have treatable contributors. Persistent sleep problems, depression, or major changes in thinking deserve a proper medical conversation. One of the biggest mistakes is buying a shelf full of supplements because an advertisement promises brain protection. Current WHO guidance does not recommend routine vitamin B or E, omega-3, or multivitamin supplementation specifically to prevent dementia when there is no diagnosed deficiency. More pills do not automatically equal more protection. There is also a risk factor people rarely think about: air pollution. You cannot control everything about the air around you, but you can sometimes reduce unnecessary exposure. On days with poor air quality, follow local guidance, limit strenuous outdoor activity when appropriate, and improve indoor air quality where practical. Here is where the 45% figure becomes important. It isn't saying one habit prevents nearly half of dementia cases. It refers to the combined potential contribution of multiple modifiable risk factors. Think of it as several small leaks in a boat. Fixing one may help. Addressing several can make a much bigger difference. So let me ask you something. Which area would be hardest for you to improve right now? Blood pressure, physical activity, hearing, blood sugar, smoking or alcohol, sleep, or staying socially connected? Tell me in the comments. Your answer might help another person realize they aren't the only ones starting from the same place. And don't try to fix everything this weekend. Start with a health audit. Know your blood pressure. Ask whether your blood sugar and cholesterol are being monitored. If conversations have become difficult, arrange a hearing evaluation. Review your medications with your clinician. Tell your doctor about sleep, mood, smoking, alcohol, and changes in memory. Then choose one behavior. Maybe it is a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's reducing tobacco exposure. Maybe it's finally scheduling that hearing test. Maybe it's calling a family member twice a week. Small actions are easier to repeat, and repeated actions are what turn good intentions into something your health can actually benefit from. The most encouraging message is this: your brain is not simply waiting for old age to happen to it. You can support cardiovascular health. You can stay physically active. You can address hearing loss. You can manage diabetes and blood pressure. You can stay connected and mentally engaged. There are still things within your control. And if you're already 70, 75, or 80, don't think you've missed your chance. Risk reduction is not an all-or-nothing game. Improving a health factor today may still be worthwhile for your heart, mobility, independence, and overall quality of life, even when dementia prevention isn't guaranteed. Imagine a woman named Margaret who noticed she was becoming less active after retirement. Her hearing had also worsened, and her blood pressure was inconsistent. She didn't transform her life overnight. She started walking regularly, got her hearing checked, began tracking her blood pressure, and became more socially active. 6 months later, she wasn't claiming that she had prevented dementia. She simply felt more engaged with her life. She walked more confidently. Conversations became easier. Her health appointments became more organized. Her family noticed that she seemed more energetic. Sometimes the real victory isn't guaranteeing a future. It is improving the present while stacking the odds in your favor. Remember this: you don't need to control everything about your future to influence the direction of your health. You only need to recognize the areas where action is possible, and have the courage to start before a problem becomes impossible to ignore. Let's quickly review. Protect your blood vessels by managing blood pressure and metabolic health. Keep your body moving. Don't ignore hearing loss. Avoid smoking and harmful alcohol use. Stay socially and mentally engaged. Pay attention to sleep and mood. And don't forget that your environment can matter too. And don't let the headline fool you. 45% preventable does not mean dementia is guaranteed to disappear if you follow 6 rules. It means a substantial portion of dementia risk may be linked to modifiable factors. That's a reason for hope, not a reason for blame when someone develops dementia. Maybe you cannot change your age. Maybe you cannot change your genetics or family history, but you can ask your doctor better questions. You can take a walk. You can check your blood pressure. You can get your hearing tested. You can call someone you love. Your brain deserves that attention. If you're ready to take one step for your brain health this week, comment, "I'm protecting my brain." Then tell me which step you're starting with. And if someone in your family is worried about memory loss, share this video with them. Sometimes one conversation can be the beginning of a healthier future. Don't wait for the day you forget why brain health matters. Start while you can still choose your habits, schedule your appointments, strengthen your body, protect your hearing, and stay connected to the people who make life meaningful. prevention isn't about fear. It's about preserving as much independence and possibility as you can. One final reminder. This video is for general education, not a personal diagnosis or treatment plan. Dementia has many causes, and no lifestyle strategy can guarantee prevention. If you have new or worsening memory problems, hearing changes, depression, sleep problems, uncontrolled blood pressure, or diabetes, speak with your healthcare professional. And never stop prescribed medication without medical advice.